to the XMARGH channel, guys. So today I've got a product review for you guys. Something that I think is absolutely crucial, especially on these Polaris RZRs, is a wheel bearing greaser. So what I've gone out and purchased is a wheel bearing greaser from Tiger Tool. So Tiger Tool makes this great little bearing greaser, really slick piece. So the one for the RZR is a 44mm greaser, and it's actually, you can actually see the part number here, 10975. That's going to be the correct one that you're going to need for your RZR. And they don't only make these for the Polaris RZR, they make these for the Sportsman, they make these for Can-Ams. They've got bearing greaser tools for a bunch of ones. Really nice. What makes these really unique is that you can do this with keeping the axles in, and that saves you a ton of time. So we'll walk through. I'm not going to do a complete disassembly, but I'll get it to the point where you can see how easy this is to actually work with. Really nice O-ring seal. I went ahead and I've already used this on 3 of the wheels just to see how it works. Super impressed, super easy to do, and we'll walk you guys through it. So, you know, you get some questions, well, why do I need a bearing greaser tool? Why do I have to spend this money to get a bearing greaser tool? Well, if you're like us, we run on the mud, water, you know, we're in the worst conditions, mud, you're going to wear the bearings out really quickly. And, you know, when you look at a wheel bearing, you know, you're in for what, 80 bucks a bearing, plus your time, disassembly, pounding it out, putting it back in. You know what? Even from the factory, these things don't come greased properly. There's a little bit of grease, there's not enough in them. This is really cheap preventative maintenance when you start talking about 80 bucks a wheel bearing. You know, this machine's got like 13 miles on it. Right away I wanted to get these things greased, and you know what, most of the wheels needed a good almost 16 pumps of grease, so that tells me we didn't have a lot in it. You know, this thing's going to pay for itself. Use it a couple times a season, especially before you park it. You definitely want to grease it because you're running into an issue where you're going to have water probably in your bearings and it's going to sit over the winter. So you know, you definitely want to make sure that you get your bearings full of grease. So super nice tool. We'll go ahead, we'll switch, we'll go ahead and show you guys how to get this done, and we'll go from there. All right. So what we've done ahead of time here is we've kind of sped things up for you guys because, you know, this is pretty easy work to do. I mean, if you're somewhat competent with hand tools, this is an easy no-brainer job for you. So we went ahead, we've jacked it up, we've got it sitting on jack stands so it's safe. You're going to see another jack here. I've just jacked this up to allow a little bit of play on the axle, make it a little easier for what we're going to do. So of course we've already removed the tire, and now we'll go ahead and we'll start on the next step. So you got a rock shield on these models. This is an 18 RZR. So 2 bolts, this comes off. Your brake caliper, you also have 2 bolts on the brake caliper. When you want to take this off, quick thing, leave your caliper bolted on. Go ahead and grab a large 1/2-inch bar, and pressing the brakes, usually 2 people help. You can go ahead and you can remove your castle nut. So once that's done, you can go ahead, slide your brake caliper off, just put that off to the side. Go ahead, and you also have a pin, sorry, you got the pin through so it doesn't move. Pin. We'll go ahead and we'll take our castle nut off. Now what we can do is we can slide our bearing or hub off. There we go. So be very cautious with this washer. The bevel actually faces outwards, and I believe that's to keep pressure on the castle nut from coming loose. So just make sure, because sometimes this comes off and then you might not be sure which way it is. Just make sure the bevel's on the outside. All right, so we'll put this down. So now, as you can see, we have access to the bearing. And what I'll do is I'll just grab a rag here, and we'll go ahead and we'll just clean up some of this grease. So this got some blue grease in it, so I'm sure this is specific wheel bearing grease for a Polaris RZR. I'm not sure what Polaris uses for this, but I'll show you guys what I use. We'll just make sure this is nice and cleaned up here. All right, so I'll show you what I'm going to actually be using here, guys. So what I've always used in all my axles is Mystic GT6 high temp multi-purpose grease. This is a great wheel bearing grease. I use these in all my Dexter axles on my trailers. It's actually an approved grease for that. And this is perfect for a disc brake, you know, disc brake wheel bearing that's going to see, you know, high speeds. It's a great grease. I run this also on the chassis and things like that. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. You're not sure what grease to use. This is a grease that I use. Works out great. So I've already got a tube loaded in my grease gun. So we'll go ahead here, we'll slide the tool in. So there's a slot here on the tool, and what I like to do is that I'll put it in, I'll probably give it 3 or 4 pumps, I'll pull the tool out, I'll turn it about quarter ways, put it back in, 3 or 4 pumps, and what I'm waiting to hear is any sounds. What I don't want to do here is, you'll see here if we get the camera in, on these 18 models, this is actually a steel seal, it's not rubber, so they've upgraded the bearings for these 18 models. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just waiting for a light hint either on the outside or the inside of the bearing where we're starting to get grease seeping. I do not want to see grease pouring out of here and compromising the seals. So I'm just waiting to hear, as soon as I can hear just something, you know, like grease, I'm going to stop. So I don't want to see grease pouring out of both sides. It's going to compromise the seals. So just a little heads up and a little trick. So we'll go ahead, we'll start at 12 o'clock position. You just lift your axle up a little bit, slide this tool in. There we go, it's bottomed out. And now we can go ahead and we can start. So I'm going to pump a little bit of grease here and just clean this up. I don't want any contaminants getting in the wheel bearings. Put this on. We'll start pumping. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll put about 4 in it at the 12 o'clock position. Take this off. It'll be a little bit tricky sometimes. It's kind of stuck in there. There we go. And what I'll do is I'll turn it. You know, turn it to about 3 o'clock position. Reinsert it, bottomed out. Go ahead, and you know, we'll put another 3 or 4 pumps. All right, so, you know, honestly, this didn't require a lot of grease. What I'm seeing right now is I can just see a little bit of grease here, and we'll check on the back side. I'll pull the axle back a little bit. Yep, and I'm just starting to see a little bit of grease here. So that's going to be good. I don't want to get to the point where I'm going to compromise the seal. I just want to get this thing to the point where it's fully greased but not pouring out. And you know, this is going to be good probably for at least half the season. I'd say probably when you do an oil change, you're going to want to actually do the bearing greaser. But so once that's done, go ahead, you just pull it out. Super easy. Like here it is, it's done. We're actually ready for disassemble. We're actually ready to reassemble this back again. So honestly, 10 minutes a wheel, you know, less than an hour, you get all 4 done. I mean, you're good for 500, 1,000 kilometers, you know, almost probably, if you don't ride a lot of water, you could probably do this at the end of the season and you'd probably be good for all season. For us mud guys, we'll probably do it a couple of times during the season or every oil change. But, you know, super easy tool. Go to their site, it's tigertool.com. They are a Canadian company. So if you guys are ordering in Canada and don't want to get nailed with border fees, it's awesome. Ship, no border fees, ship from, I believe they're out in Vancouver. So check them out. I'll leave a link down below of where you can purchase it. And yeah, guys, I hope you found this, you know, a review helpful. This is an awesome tool. This is one of the better tools that I have for my RZR that I've been using, and really happy with it. That's why I wanted to do a review for you guys. So, you know, thanks for tuning in, and if you have any questions, leave some comments below on my channel. If you're not subscribed to their channel right now, go ahead and do so. We got tons of stuff, tons of videos, reviews. We're always doing something here. So once again, hope you guys found it thankful and helpful, and we'll see you guys later. Thanks.